First, to help us understand why we should follow the rules, it might be useful for us to know some general information about rules. You see, rules are expectations for our behavior that have been formulated by authority figures. Rules are designed to be fair and protect everyone. That's why we have traffic signals, referees in football games, and directions on the box top of a Monopoly game. Rules affect us every moment of every day, and it's in our best interest to know how to use them. Now, in this program, we'll approach rules in 3 ways. Part 1, rules are everywhere. They're a fact of life. Rules help us define our relationships at home, with friends, and at school, and on the job. Rules allow us to live and play as a group. Now, Part 2 shows us that rules deal with consequences. Our earliest experiences with rules occur at home and at school, and we soon learn that rules have consequences. Now, consequences can be good or bad, as we'll soon see. Now, Part 3 teaches us that rules can be negotiated, and that negotiation is a skill that can be learned. Negotiating can help us meet our needs, especially if we first understand the types of people, like teachers, that we're dealing with. Now, since rules give direction for conduct for the members of a group, we can see that functioning families, friendships, schools, and businesses are all possible because, well, people follow common rules. Now, is this how your family functions?
Hi, honey. How was school? I'm exhausted.
Hi, dear. Hi, Tom.
Pop, I need some money for the ball game. How about a 10 spot?
Oh, sure, Tom, sure. You'll notice that I didn't get the lawn mowed, but the guys and I are going bowling.
Whoa, whoa. Sorry, Pop, but you know about the rule. The one about asking.
But, Tom, all the other dads are going...
I'm not all the other dad's son. Now, am I?
Lucky for them.
And look at this mess. I really want to go to sleep early tonight. I'm so tired.
Would you quit your whining? No, you'll have plenty of time to clean up this. The guys and I won't be back from the ball game for a couple, 3 hours. You should have plenty of time to clean this mess up. Besides, old Pop here will help you with the refreshments and the snacks, won't you, Pop?
But, Tom, you're always picking on me.
Forget it. You're grounded. Now get out there and do the lawn. You two are just gonna make things tougher for yourselves.
Now, how would you like growing up in that kind of world? Don't answer that. Now, let's take a look at these 2 friends and the rules of friendship, specifically dating and honesty.
Oh, hi. Come sit down and watch this. Pete is about to tell Stella about Rose, Glenda, Marlene, Frida, Alice, Mary Beth, Sandy, and Louise.
Oh. Well, hi, Myra.
Why so glum, chum?
I'm not, really.
Aw, Jack, you poor baby. Still no date for the big dance.
Look, Myra, I really don't want to talk about me right now, okay?
Why don't you let me help you? Give you a few pointers.
I don't think so. It's just that your style is not... That is, I'm just not quite as...
Outgoing?
Yeah, outgoing. You're so...
Stylish.
Stylish, yes.
Yeah.
Being without a date isn't one of your worries.
You heard of Mark Anthony?
Who hasn't? Cleopatra's greatest love.
Who? She must have dated him before me.
Huh?
Mark Anthony, all-city fullback from Jefferson.
He gave you that?
Nice, huh?
But I thought Nick gave you a ring.
Yeah.
Myra, how could you do this?
Very carefully. It ain't easy.
I mean, 2 timing.
3.
Huh?
Bob from the Pizza Pit. He's so cute.
Myra, how could you even possibly conceive of doing it?
Timing. It's all a matter of timing.
Do any of them know?
Don't even think it. Knock on wood.
What was that?
I just knocked on the table.
No, there was a knock at the door.
Well, who is it?
It's Nick, Myra.
Oh.
And Mr. Mark Anthony.
Oh.
And Myra,
Yes, dear?
did you order anything from the Pizza Pit?
Oh. Uh-oh.
You see? Rules are everywhere. All sorts of rules, spoken and unspoken. Now let's peek into a classroom.
That's where you go.
Okay. Well, we only got some of these.
We're right there. Whoa, I don't know.
There we are, coming around.
Deal me in.
Okay, Reese.
What are we playing? Never mind.
Yeah, go for it.
A party! Look, a party over there! I like to see. Okay. Double or nothing. $1,000. That's double or nothing. There we go.
Class, can't you see I'm on the phone? Now, about tonight, honey, I think that we ought to go to a movie or something. Wouldn't that be more fun?
Now, a classroom like that may or may not be your idea of fun, but it won't prepare you for college or a job in the real world. One thing does lead to another. And speaking of jobs, let's meet Benny and Betty.
Hey, you must be the new guy.
Why, I'm Benny.
Welcome aboard,
Pleasure
Benny.
to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Betty. Is this an L72 that you're working on?
I don't know.
You know, I don't know either. Well, it kind of looks like an L72, but did you put this together?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's going to work like this. It can't.
Well, but that's not my problem.
But it is your problem.
Well, it's together, though, isn't it?
Yes, but you see, it won't.
Then it's not my problem.
No, wait just a minute here. I've worked here for 10 years, and I know this stuff really well.
You know, you just chill out a minute here, okay? Or I'll write you up.
You know, I just happen to be your supervisor. Hey, aren't you supposed to be wearing those gloves? This is a controlled environment.
You know, those gloves make my hands sweat. And if you're the supervisor, I have a couple of things I'd like to complain to you about.
Okay.
Number one, where was the coffee I was promised when they gave me this lousy job?
Well, the coffee was here at 8, but you were here at 10.
How come they towed my trailer away?
Because you parked your trailer in the little spot marked company president. Any other brilliant questions?
What is that you keep writing down there on that?
Oh, this is just a little dismissal slip. You're being fired from this lousy job, Benny.
But I haven't done anything since I got here.
I know. Exactly. You have a good life.
So you see, rules are everywhere, and at no time is that more apparent than when people do the opposite of what they're supposed to do. Now, some of the characters you just saw live in an upside-down world, while others live in a world of their own and don't pay attention to anyone else's rights, feelings, or to any rules but their own. Now, rules provide fairness. Tom, the tyrannical teenager, is in an upside-down world, of course. But wouldn't it be nice to have parents do all the chores as well as provide food, shelter, and cash? A lot of parents probably wouldn't think so. I mean, even parents deserve fairness. Now, rules provide standards of behavior, as Myra found out. Breaking that sort of rule may not get her restricted at home or suspended from school or send her to jail, But there are other forms of trouble. Oh, by the way, Jackie is going to the big dance with Mark Anthony. Rules provide organization. Now, how about that classroom? Looked like fun, huh? Well, unfortunately, life isn't all fun and confusion. If anything is to be accomplished, some organization is needed. Now, rules provide responsibility. And when you go to work and become part of an organization, a team, like our friend Benny, you find that everyone has certain responsibilities to perform, and that if you're not responsible, you're out. So what does this tell you? That rules deal with consequences, and consequences are the results of our actions. Every situation has consequences. In part 1, we learned that rules are everywhere. Family, friends, school, and at work. And the way we act in relation to those rules has consequences. Now, consequences can be good or bad. You can earn positive or negative recognition. You can get a raise or get fired. In most of these situations, we're dealing with authority. The first place we learn to deal with authority is at home. What is learned there helps or hinders our next experience with authority, school, and so on into college or work, and into society in general. And all along the way, our decisions produce consequences. Every day we are presented with options for actions and behavior. And in every situation, whether we realize it or not, we have a conversation with ourselves, a dialogue in our heads. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I?
Skip. Skippy boy.
Hey, Skippy. Skippy boy. Hey, don't listen to him.
Skipper, this test is gonna be a
This test is gonna be a piece of cake. You're sitting next to Jim Bolin, the smartest guy in the school. That's cheating, Skip. Oh, what do you mean cheating? Look at that paper sitting out there for all the world to see. You won't be able to live with yourself.
Yeah.
Think of the consequences. Yeah, please. Think of the consequences. An A on the exam, an A for the semester, and a big bonus in next week's allowance.
Think much of yourself.
You won't be able to live with yourself. Oh, you won't get caught.
No, you cheat.
You won't have to get caught. You'll know you cheated, Skip. You'll know you cheated, Skip. Oh, give me a break. Give us a break. Don't let him give you that what goes around comes around routine. You're a big boy now, Skippy. A man. Yeah, a man. So, why don't you light up that cigar, Skip, old man?
Now, wait, don't change the
No, wait a minute. Don't try to change the subject.
on the test.
Just because I had you beat on the test. Oh, Skip, wait a minute.
That's
You don't
it,
smoke
Skip.
cigars.
All right. That'll show that little Becky over there what kind of a man you really are.
Skip, don't listen to him. You know he only
never
gets
lets
into
you have
trouble.
any fun.
He never lets you have any.
That's it. Light that puppy up there, Skippo boy. I mean, what a man. I'm out of here. I gotta go.
I'm out of here, Skip. I gotta go.
Oh, me too. You're on your own now, Skip.
What was that? What's that, Skip?
What's what, sir?
Well, what you put in your pocket there. You're not cheating on the test, are you, boy?
No, sir. I didn't put anything into my pocket, Mr. Pocket. I mean, my pocket, Mr. Pocket.
Now, when we think of rules, we must think consequences. Rules are everywhere, and consequences are everywhere. Now, to perform an action without considering the rules and consequences is careless decision-making. Remember, every situation has rules. Every rule has consequences. Now, dealing with authority has consequences, and consequences can be good or bad. We must stop and realize consequences before we decide to do something, before we act. Think things through. The bottom line is that we are responsible for our actions. We earn consequences. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is, Do you want good or bad consequences? So think things through. That's what the big decision makers do, and they're well paid for it. First of all, don't make hasty, spur-of-the-moment decisions based on impulse. This isn't to knock spontaneity, but for the most part, decisions are too important to make without thinking things through. Now, don't make decisions when you're upset, angry, or in any heightened emotional state. Cool off. Now, too often, people make hasty decisions when they're upset and end up hurting themselves. Now, while you're taking time to think, consider all the possible consequences of your action or decision. Think it through to all the consequences that you know will logically follow. A lot of our actions determine events into the future, like a line of dominoes getting knocked over. And once that first action takes place, it's kind of hard to control those that follow. And don't forget, consider all possible choices and options. One of our most valuable assets is our ability and right to decide. Now, don't limit yourself to a single choice or course of action. There are many. So while you're taking the time to think, consider several and think each through to their logical consequences. Now, let's apply this to a rule: not skipping school. Now, Skip's girlfriend just broke up with him and is dating a Hungarian bullfighter. Now, Skip's friends want him to skip out. So, Skip decides to escape by skipping school. Now, maybe his action will even make him look good to certain people. For the moment, he has healed his hurt and feels free. For the moment. But what are some of the other consequences? Think it through. A doubling of his workload when Skip returns to reality. Now, he picked up a lot of negative reactions from his teacher, discipline from the school, and of course his parents weren't too happy either. So for a brief moment of false freedom, what did Skip get? A lot of negative feelings. Now, whether Skip feels angry, guilty, or frustrated with his school, parents, or even himself, it still adds up to a lot of negative garbage that could have been avoided if he had just stopped and thought things through. Now, what if Skip had played by the rules? Yeah, maybe his friends wouldn't think he was so cool for the moment. But those people will always be there, hanging around. But on the positive side, there's no comparison. His workload wouldn't have been nearly as heavy. On the contrary, he wouldn't be playing catch-up, but he would be prepared. He would not only be free of all those negative feelings and reactions from other people, but would be operating in the positive. Now, what do we mean when we say that rules can be negotiated? Now, certainly there are some rules that aren't negotiable, like the laws of the land. A red light will always mean stop. This protects our safety. And stealing will always be against the law. This protects our property. So what is negotiable? Well, a lot, actually. The point is, we all want something. And negotiation is the skill we need to learn to help us meet our needs and achieve our wants. Now, skills take practice. The first place we learn to deal with rules and authority, well, to practice negotiation, is at home. The next place is at school. Now, school isn't just a place to learn to read and write and balance a checkbook. It's a place where we learn to deal with the rules and negotiate with people in charge, teachers. Did you know there are 3 types of teachers? And once we learn these 3 types, we can see how each type shapes his or her environment and understand where the rules come from. Well, then you can use this information as a basis for negotiating and knowing what is and isn't negotiable. Well, start right away by listening and watching for familiar types. Do any seem familiar to you? The three basic styles of teaching are the teller, the seller, and the hide and seeker. Now, the teller likes to be in charge. They want you to do exactly as they tell you to do. When they give you a direction, they want it followed to the letter. And they also want it done now. No waiting around. The teller is well organized.
Now, the syllabus covers the main points that we'll be covering in class and other pertinent information that you'll need to know regarding textbooks, library reserve books, term papers, tests, quizzes, rules, etc. It also explains how my class is organized. And believe me, my class is organized.
So, how do you negotiate with a teller? Very carefully. You must follow their rules, be respectful, ask their advice. This shows you appreciate them. And show loyalty by working hard. Now, what this adds up to is getting their confidence, because once you get it, they'll cut you some slack. Now, the second type of teacher, the seller, likes classroom participation. He or she enjoys class discussions. The seller likes challenges. Directions are more in the form of give and take, not as rigid as with the teller type. The seller expects students to negotiate. The seller likes to be spontaneous. They enjoy change and many times will go with popular opinion in the class just to see where it leads.
Okay. Starting tomorrow, smaller groups. We'll see if there's an improvement.
You're kidding, really?
It's worth a try. Anything else?
So, how does one negotiate with a seller? Well, you can get a lot of good practice in a seller's class because they're natural negotiators. You must express your thoughts and feelings. Participate in discussions. Make creative suggestions. And don't be afraid to challenge this teacher's opinion. The hide and seeker type of teacher likes independence. Now, he or she expects students to work on their own. Hide and seekers tend to be quiet loners. Sometimes they give poor directions. They tend to be vague because they expect students to know without being led by the hand. Therefore, you may need to help them be more specific.
All you had to do was look on a board back there.
This is like last week's assignment, Mr. Blake. You forgot to write it down again.
Huh? Oh.
How do you negotiate with a hide and seeker? Get specific directions. And get everything on paper. They tend to forget rules and agreements. And be a self-starter. The hide and seeker won't give specific rules and directions like the teller or stimulate participation like the seller. It'll be up to you in this one. Now, what it boils down to is negotiating within the boundary of each teacher's rules. You have to play it their way, on their turf. So pay attention and let each teacher's style be your guide. You might also recognize shades of the three types of your teachers in your friends, parents, and one day in your bosses. Now, in summary, rules are part of the real world. The reality is this: if you play by the rules, you win. If you play against the rules, you lose. The choice is yours. Children become students, students become workers. At each stage of your development, practice the skill that will ensure your success. Understand, follow, and negotiate the rules.
Hi, honey. How was school? I'm exhausted.
Hey, kiddo, how's it going?
Hey, Pop.